Welcome everyone to Duel 102. I'm using the Danny rules deck in this tournament. Duel. It's a duel. And this is the duel that Danny Boy 3 used to win my first tournament. It's his own Dragon Ruler deck. And he came out victorious in the finals against Yu-Gi-Oh! 20. Now, as promised, I'm using a different title than just Dragon Rulers for this deck, because I just want a specific title for all of my tournament winners, because I'll be using all of my tournament winners' decks. At this moment, my other tournament is currently at 23 signups, going pretty well. A little slower than I originally wanted, but we're going for it. Now, here are the cards, moves, stuff. Dragon Rulers. A good amount of people know how they work, others don't. But what we all know, they're the highest tier of meta at the moment. And Danny Boy 3 made use of that and won the tournament. I believe, let's say, round 1. I don't remember what he faced. I don't honestly remember what he faced at all. I could check. You know what? If there's no annotation on the screen right now, or it's not mentioned in the description either, notify me in the comments or something like that, that I make a list in the description saying what he faced in every round. All I know is that in the finals, in semis he beat Dinoswarm, and in the finals he beat Machina Gadget. I honestly didn't expect Machina Gadget to get so far, but it happened, so yeah. I start off with a basic Draco sack play, 2 tokens to protect myself, and just waiting to see what the opponent does. I don't really know. Plays level limit area B. Doesn't work against Xyz monsters, but they can work against Dragon Rulers themselves if I don't Xyz. I have Book of Moon, but he has 2 face-down cards and like Go Heavy Storm. He has 2 chains. Secret Barrel, Threatening Roar, making sure I can't declare an attack this turn. Secret Barrel to deal 1800 points of damage, because in total I have 9 cards in field and hand together, which is unfortunate, I guess. And now I noticed I didn't put my Skype on Do Not Disturb, but whatever. Okay. First turn of Gold Sarcophagus, next turn I'll be getting Tempest back. Now, Dragon Rulers are hard to understand. In a way, it's really easy to teach you the basics, but to truly be able to say that you've mastered them is going to take a while. I knew that they were the highest tier of meta, and I really wanted to learn how they worked, but it took me a long time. Definitely. Each of them have 4 effects. 3 of them are exactly the same among all 4 of the dragons. The only difference is the attribute: Earth, Fire, Wind, Water. And then they have one effect, I believe it's their 3rd effect, that's a little different. You discard that monster, like the big dragon, plus 1 monster of that same attribute, so Fire, Earth, Water, or Wind, for a specific effect. Blaster destroys a card, Redox summons, I believe. Tidal sends a monster from deck to graveyard, and Tempest sends a card back to hand. I'm not entirely certain about Tidal or Tempest. I know one of them sends a monster from deck to grave, don't remember which one. Because I've never used either of those effects. I've used Blaster most, that's the most useful out of all of them. Like, if you're facing Evil Swarms, that's your way to take out Evil Swarm off you, usually. And I've used Redox, I believe, once, but you don't really use those often. You just use the other effects. Summoning themselves, and getting the baby dragons when you banish them. And then sometimes you may get like the effect that returns them to hand, but you don't really come across that too often, because a good amount of the times you will be Xyz summoning using those monsters and materials. And the baby dragons aren't that difficult to learn. They only have 1 effect that you can use once per turn, and it's discard that monster plus a dragon or monster of the same attributes. So Earth, Fire, Water, Wind, and then summon the big version of it from the deck. Alright, now he has a face-down monster. I'm like, okay, I can make some good plays here and deal a lot of damage this turn. I have Dragunity Corsica. I could Synchro Summon if I like summon Tidal and then or Redox and then summon it for Synchro. I decided not to go for that and go for something else. You'll see in a moment what that is. I discard reacting for its effect along with Tidal to summon Redox. I have Super Rejuvenation in my hand, so I'm thinking of banishing something. I don't remember what I was thinking. Well, somehow I at this point I had an idea in my head to get another baby in my hand, so that I would be able to discard that and Corsica to get more cards for super rejuvenation. But I'm like, no wait, I don't need to because I can probably do a lot of damage anyway. I decided to use the Dragosack effect because I'm gonna need to use one attack to take the monster out anyway. And with Stealth Bird having more attack than Redux, I didn't want to risk the Redux not actually going through. Would have done so, but he has Dandelion, and I'm like, okay, Dandelion, how are we going to do this? This is the first time I've ever thought, when using Dragon Rulers, I've thought Gaia Charger may work. I have one less attack, but then I do get the piercing. But I could just attack with Redux and then have the direct attack with Tidal later on, and then I deal the same amount of damage. Then I thought, I'm going to do it anyway, because I have a plan. Big Eye can just attack on him, could just attack on a token, but I could also just, instead of attacking, use the effect and make myself unable to attack, to take a token to my side of the field. The token is gone from their field, and Big Eye can't attack afterwards. And I, again, have a token to defend Dracosack, and then I summon this, and, well, he gives up, so see you in a bit. And here we are in the deck profile. Wait a second, okay, this isn't a deck request video. Why are you doing a duel and a deck profile? Well, if you've watched my duel vlogs, which I'm hoping that... Seriously, why does this always happen when I record, like, a deck profile? Seriously. Go away. I'll take care of it later. I just even deleted some files. Anyway, as promised in the duel vlogs, and I hope you're all watching that, because there's going to be some really important information in the duel vlogs. And once again, duel vlogs are specifically for Yu-Gi-Oh things. It's not just things that a good amount of people on my channel aren't really coming for. They come for the Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. Duel vlogs are good stuff. Only Yu-Gi-Oh. This is Danny Boy 3's Dragon Ruler deck that he used to come out victorious in my first tournament. And there's a lot of noise outside, and I'm wondering if you can hear it or not, but I'm going to keep going anyway. Starting off with the obvious, the big monsters: Blaster, Dragon Ruler of Infernos, Redux. We have Tidal, we have Tempest, 3 of all of the big dragons. Oh yeah, Tempest adds a dragon from deck to hand. That was it. And Tidal does send a monster from deck to grave. I was right about that one, just wasn't right about Tempest. That could technically be useful. Huh. Alright, anyway. 3 big dragons, that's basic for elemental dragons. 2 of the babies. Sometimes people use 3. I personally use 2 as well. You'll see my Dragon Ruler deck later on in a deck request. It's a deck request that makes real good use of all of the rank 7s that I can easily summon. 2 is basic for each. Well, that I've seen a lot anyway. 2 of each of the babies. Some people use 1 on a few. Up to them. I personally prefer 2. There's 3 Light and Darkness dragons. Some people say that Light and Dark Dragon isn't good in Elemental Dragon. Some people say it's awesome. I could definitely see why it's awesome. So I have it in my side deck at the moment, not in my main deck. The main reason it's good, it's the very best. Light and Dark Dragon is at its very best in Dragon Rulers if you have it first turn and you're able to bring out Dragosack. The idea is then to summon 2 dragons in any way you want, get out Dragosack, use its effect to summon 2 tokens, and since you haven't not normal summoned yet, because most of the turns in Dragon Rulers you'll only special summon, you contribute the 2 tokens for Light and Darkness Dragon, and then you can negate up to 4 things. Yes, it also stops your Dragon Rulers from doing much. You can't activate their effects either. Well, technically you can, but they'll be negated. You're not going to do that. But the opponent can't do much either, so you can just attack with Dragosack and Light and Darkness Dragon until Light and Darkness Dragon stops negating, and then just you'll have a lot of new dragons and combos ready to just keep going. It's really hard to get rid of Light and Darkness Dragon if you get it out. that easily. And otherwise, I suppose you can use it to like summon two elemental dragons and then tribute it for a Light and Darkness dragon if you really want. That's up to your playing style and up to the situation of the duel. Then there's two Eclipse Wyverns. You discard them along with a baby dragon, usually. Pretty much that's the only way you get them in the graveyard. And then you banish Light and Darkness Dragon, and then when you banish Eclipse Wyvern to summon one of the big dragons, then you can add Light and Darkness Dragon to your hand. I've actually had this one when I first dueled with this deck. I did that exact move. Discarded Eclipse Wyvern along with one of the babies, and then banish it to summon a big one, had the two big ones, overlay for Dragosack, and then summon Light and Darkness Dragon. That was pretty cool. Now there's Dragunity Corsica, a level 1 tuner, which can be used to synchro into one of these guys. Effect Veiler is also an option, because Effect Veiler is still very viable in the current meta as level 1 tuner. Danny Boy decided to go with Dragunity Corsica. It's Dragon, and it's level 1. And it's Wind, so it's Wind, so you can use it for Tempest specific effect. And it's Dragon, so you can pretty much use it for all of the dragons' effects, however you want. Furthermore, there was one Maxi to, well, stop your opponent from special summoning a lot, and if they do, you get a lot of stuff you can summon with, so usually they don't want that, unless they know the OTK. Because there is an OTK if your opponent uses Maxi. Watch out with that. Book of Moon, Doracle, 3 Gold Sharks, pretty basic in Elemental Dragons. Banish a big one, get it back 2 turns later, and you get a baby to your hand. Usually you'll add the baby with that effect. You can add the big one too, but usually you'll go with the baby. Heavy Storm, Monster Reborn, should be obvious. Super Rejuvenation works with the baby's effects. Usually I don't really draw more than 2 cards. At one point I believe I've drawn 4. Usually I don't draw more than 2, but it is still very useful to get more cards. As you saw this, I got Monster Reborn and Heavy. Like, I didn't mind getting those 2 cards, they're really good. Breakthrough Skill is, along with Effect Veiler, the card to use to negate stuff. Breakthrough Skill, in a way, is more useful because you can actually use it twice. Once from your graveyard during your own turn, and once as a trap, usually. Return from the Different Dimension to summon a lot of banished monsters, like you'll have a Blaster, a Lightning, a Reaction, a Tidal, and a Tempest. I don't know. Summon them all, bring out new Xyz monsters, and just go boom and do stuff. In the side deck, Danny decided to go with Droll and Lockbird, which can be used with certain effects in this, like against Tempest effect, but this is usually used against Prophecy. There was only one Prophecy deck in my tournament, but it actually lost in round 1 to Evil Swarms. Maxi, 2 more copies if he wants to use more Metaion the Time Lord. 1 copy of Tsukumi. 3 Mystical Space Typhoon for more back row hate, and same for Dust Tornado. More back row hate. Because things like Imperial Iron Wall can definitely be annoying to this deck. Like, you can destroy it with Blaster's effect, but there's a total of 5 fires in the deck, and you have to draw into 1 Blaster, and then 4 out of the other 39 are fires, so there's a chance you won't draw into the second. So you want to use Emissary or Dust Tornado to get rid of that. In the extra deck, he decided to go with Ancient Sacred Wyvern and Black Rose Dragon. Now, when I looked at that, I'm like, okay, you need a tuner, which is going to be Corsica as the only one, but how are you going to make level 6? With Burner and Lightning? You barely ever normal summon. The only one I've ever normal summoned, I believe, is Reactant, because it has good attack. But I barely normal summon any of these monsters except Light and Darkness, so yeah, you're not going to normal summon 2 of them just to make this, so probably intended to use Monster Reborn with something and then Corsica, or Monster Reborn and then like into level 3 and then Reactant. Like, he's going to have to do that with Ancient Sacred Wyvern anyway if he wants a Monster Reborn and Light. Then for the level 8 synchros, Colossal Fighter, because it can, well, bring itself back, and that's good. Crimson Blader to stop the opponent's elemental dragons, very useful. Red Dragon Archfiend, Scrap Dragon, and Stardust Dragon, some basic level 8 synchros. Rank 7 wise, 3 Draco Sacks and 3 Big Eyes. I've seen only one duel ever where someone actually got to summon 3 Big Eyes and the opponent had like 2. It was a field full of Big Eyes, that was funny. 3 Draco Sacks. I personally haven't ever seen someone summon more than 2. But if you want to run 3, that's fine by me. 1 Myrmilibus Gaios, because there is the chance that you'll get 2 titles out. I've had this happen to me before. One time through title effect, one time through stream effect. You can summon a Biscayos to stop opponent's monsters from attacking, which can be useful. So go into Biscayos when you have a chance. And then 1 copy of Gaia Dragon. I've never actually summoned this in Dragon Rulers up until this duel, so that was actually kind of funny that I had that experience for the first time. But yeah, this is Danny Rules, the Dragon Ruler deck that Danny Butter used to win Alka 1093 Tournament 1. Now, if you want to join Alka 1093 Tournament 2, I'll leave the link in the description, and you'd better be there quick, because there's not that many spots left. Be quick, and join. And otherwise, I hope to see you in the 3rd tournament, because I have a lot of special rules and things planned for later on. Be ready.